Could you, before we go further, dive into the innovation side of it and the startup side of it, could you talk more on your experience in working as the first getting you involved in the tech and then being a developer and working with a large tech organizations and different roles? How did you grow in that organization in your early stages?
It was really interesting because IBM was a very enormous company, lots of people employed there, and I was one of 8 people employed in a company that had over 250 employees. So females were definitely in the minority, and of all branches for me to land up in, I started in the mining branch, which was completely male-dominated. I loved programming, I really enjoyed what I was doing there, but you had to have a career path and you had to go through design and systems analysis and all that sort of thing. And then I became very interested in sales and moved into sales and marketing. That was quite a challenge because I had a young family and didn't want to work full-time. So to take on a target and a commission structure meant that I had to work long hours and they had to be flexible around the hours that I worked. I was the first person in IBM to take on a sales role with flexi hours, and it worked very well. I'm happy to say I made my 100% club every year.
So powerful. And coming to innovation and startup space, what do you see in, if you want to give us a snapshot of the last few decades of, technology boom happening from the dot-com era in Australia? What do you see? How have you utilized the technology boom, the innovation, and the wave of startups and innovation and technology, all of it?
I think when I first came to Australia, it was a bit of a culture shock coming from South Africa. In South Africa, we were embargoed for many years, and there were many products we couldn't get and things we couldn't do. And so people became very innovative. It was a culture of making a plan to do whatever you needed to do. And when I came to Australia, I've heard for the first time about this tall poppy syndrome, which is completely counter to any innovation. Nobody wanted to put their hands up above the parapet or get noticed, and they wouldn't make a decision for fear of making a wrong decision. And even in sales, it took me a long time to understand the signals that were no signals because people didn't actually say no. I think as technology has evolved and as innovation has grown, particularly in WA, that has helped to change that tall poppy culture to a very great extent. We have to recognize innovation. We have to recognize different ways of doing things and take our hats off to the people who think about them and actually develop those scenarios that make life easier and better.